Hey guys, today I want to talk about some shocking new polls out of the Rust Belt that puts Joe Biden up 17 points in Wisconsin by an A+ rated pollster. As well as that, I want to take a look at Trump's 2020 final campaign strategy and comparing the Rust Belt in 2020 to 2016, because as of right now, Joe Biden is doing much better than Hillary Clinton. At this point in time, Hillary Clinton's numbers were on a free fall, but this time around we're seeing that Joe Biden's numbers are holding very strong. So before we get started, make sure you join my Discord server if you have not. The link is at the very top of the description below, and there are many giveaways, contests, and events on there before the election. So make sure you join so you do not miss out on all of that. The link again is at the very top of the description below. I have also launched channel memberships on this channel. Just click on that blue join button and you will gain access to some pretty sweet perks, and they're just 99 cents per month, so make sure you click on that blue join button if you're interested in channel memberships. So moving on to today's video, basically what we see in Wisconsin is that there's an A+ rated pollster, which is ABC News and the Washington Post. They put Biden up 17 points in 2 polls. And this is definitely an outlier. I don't think Joe Biden has a chance at winning Wisconsin by 17 points. We see that these other A/B rated polls put Biden up 4% and 5%. SurveyMonkey, which is one of the worst pollsters, does put Biden up 12% and 13%. We see Ipsos and YouGov, which are all right pollsters, putting Biden up 8 and 9 points. So what we see here is that Biden is doing very, very well in Wisconsin. Although he's not going to win it by 17%, I think what this shows is that Donald Trump really at this point in time doesn't stand a chance in the state of Wisconsin, a state that he won in 2016 by the largest margin out of the 3 blue wall states. In 2016, he was able to flip Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, but he had the largest margin of victory over Hillary Clinton in the state of Wisconsin. This time around, I think the closest state out of these 3 will be the state of Pennsylvania, but in favor of Joe Biden. So the state of Wisconsin, this is the only state that the polls got wrong in 2016. There's definitely a chance that the polls could get it wrong again this time, but that's very unlikely. First of all, Joe Biden has a much more commanding lead than Hillary Clinton. Joe Biden right now leads by an average of 8.5%. So this is exactly 6 days before the election. The election was held on November 8th last time, so 6 days before that will be the 2nd of November. So taking a look at the RCP average for Wisconsin in 2016, for the 2nd of November, we can see on the 2nd, Clinton plus 5.4, and on election night, she led by 6.5%. So Biden's lead, first of all, is larger than Clinton's. Second of all, there really weren't too many polls that came out towards the end of this election 4 years ago. What we saw, the final poll came out from the 1st to the 2nd of November. So really, it was these final days that Trump was able to win over those voters when he was campaigning in the Rust Belt in those final days leading up to the election. Hillary Clinton did not visit Wisconsin literally ever during the campaign cycle in 2016. She went there for the primary, but not for the actual election. She took this race for granted. I mean, I can understand why she would think she would win, but she wasn't going to win by that large of a margin, even if she was going to win. Obama won it by just 7% in 2012, by almost 15% in 2008, but this state might have gone to a Democrat since Michael Dukakis in 1988, but still, Clinton should not have neglected this state. She was way too confident. You could tell that she thought she was going to win, and personally, I thought she was going to win too, but I think that she definitely made a lot of mistakes 4 years ago. Neglecting Wisconsin, I think, was a huge mistake for the Clinton campaign, and just neglecting the rest of it in general. She really did not spend too much time and effort into these 3 states, and the voters saw that. They saw right through her, and they voted for Trump. So Wisconsin right now, Biden, I think, is on a pathway to victory here. This is probably the 2nd largest lead Joe Biden's ever had in Wisconsin, the largest lead he's had since the month of June, when he led by 9.6%. So 8.5%, that is a larger margin in Wisconsin now for Joe Biden than the state of Michigan. In 2016, Michigan also went to Trump by just 0.3%. So Trump won all of Michigan's 16 electoral votes 4 years ago. So looking at Michigan this time around, Biden at 50%. This is very important. I'm going to talk about why 50% is important in just a few moments here. But Joe Biden also doing very well. The same pollsters, Siena College and the New York Times Upshot, yeah, the Santa College and New York Times is not the same pollster, but this pollster, also an A+ rated, puts Biden up 8, in the same pollster, ABC News and the Washington Post puts Biden up 7 and 5%. This, I think, is a lot more accurate, but still, it does still show that Donald Trump does not have a chance at winning Michigan, nor does he have a chance at winning Wisconsin. These numbers are just so in favor of Joe Biden. Look at this lead. He has held this basically 7 to 8% lead so consistently throughout the entire election cycle, starting from the month of June when he really reached his peak. He dipped down a little bit in August and September, and he came right back up in October. So the month of October was really a great month for Joe Biden. If things didn't happen, if the first debate wasn't so disastrous for President Trump, and if Trump didn't catch COVID-19 like that, I think that the race would be a lot closer. As you can see, right in the beginning of October, we saw a little bit of a surge for Joe Biden. So this could not have gone any better. I mean, he surged in June and July. He peaked at that point, and people thought that was going to his peak for this election. But this time around, Joe Biden is doing a lot better right now, and I think that is a very positive sign for his campaign. Taking a look at the Real Clear Politics average for 2016, Clinton only led by 3.6% on election night. What you have to understand is that although Clinton led by 11% just 3 weeks until the election, what you have to understand is that Trump's numbers increased so much since then. If we take a look at the 18th of November or October right now, I mean, the 18th of, or basically right here, Biden led by 7.9%. Right now, Biden's at 8%. So Trump has seen absolutely no gains in the state of Wisconsin, or not Wisconsin, in Michigan, in the last couple of weeks. Taking a look at Wisconsin, we've seen absolutely no gains from the Trump campaign. I mean, the beginning of October, +7, now +8.5. So what we saw in 2016 was in those final weeks, Trump was really able to increase his numbers. And you see these polls, there were more polls conducted towards the end here, and with Michigan, they were in Wisconsin. You saw a Financial Follow Group poll on the 6th, just 2 days before the election. That was a sign that Trump was probably going to win this state. And Trump hugely overperformed his average. He won basically all of the undecided voters that voted for either Clinton or Trump, because as you can see, Clinton's numbers stayed the exact same. So the numbers were not wrong for Clinton. They were just underestimating Trump, not because Trump really had more support at the time those polls were made. It was just that he was able to win over all of those undecided voters. You can see this in most states in 2016, that Trump's numbers really shot up towards the end, because at this point in time, Trump was not going to win Michigan when he was down by 12%. If the election were held basically right then on the 18th of October before that James Comey report, Hillary Clinton would have won the state of Michigan. But the election wasn't held then. It was held on the 8th, so Hillary Clinton lost the state very, very narrowly by 0.3%. And another thing is that Biden, his favorability right now is around +5, +6%. Clinton's was -12, 13% towards the end. Just due to Biden's popularity, it's literally almost 20 points more popular than Clinton. He's probably going to win Michigan. I mean, Trump won this state so narrowly by around 10,000 votes. I think that Joe Biden can definitely bring this back. And I think this is pretty safe right now for Joe Biden. I would say that Joe Biden has a larger chance of winning Michigan than he does of having, winning other states like Nevada, definitely, a state that did go to Hillary Clinton in 2016. So taking a look at our electoral map, I wanted to talk about what Joe Biden and Donald Trump need, and how, Donald Trump is planning to retake this election, I guess. I don't think it's going to work, just because there really is not enough time. The month of October really has just been so disastrous for the Trump campaign. I mean, everything that could have possibly went wrong for Donald Trump in the last month. I mean, he caught COVID-19, which definitely did not help his campaign and didn't help his numbers either. We really saw no sympathy towards the president, just because the president has been just so neglective of the virus. So really we saw nobody actually, we didn't see support in terms of his approval rating or his polling numbers after he caught COVID-19, which is unfortunate for the president, but that was honestly what I expected. I did not expect him to see a boost from that, and Joe Biden was able to benefit greatly from that. A lot of people realized that, Trump's negligence, even had him catch COVID-19. So for Joe Biden, he only did 3 states, as I've said, basically throughout the entire election cycle. his strategy lies in the Rust Belt. These 3 states Clinton barely lost, so this makes perfect sense. Unlike my grammar, but this makes perfect sense for Joe Biden to target. These 3 states are the easiest for him to win, and he only needs to win these 3 states. He doesn't need to win them by a large margin just to get him over Donald Trump's numbers. So for President Trump, he has to win basically every other great state, as well as at least Pennsylvania or Wisconsin and either Michigan or Pennsylvania. So these numbers are just not on his side, and LT talked about this earlier today, Trump's campaign plan. So basically, what Trump is going to do this election in the final days, he's going to target Minnesota, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. He is pulling ads out of basically these other states, Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, Iowa. He's going to focus on the 3 states of Minnesota, Michigan, or not 3, 4 states of Minnesota, Michigan, Ohio, as well as Pennsylvania. I'm not too sure about his strategy here. I mean, I think that personally I would target other states. He does not need Michigan. He does not need Michigan to win. All he needs is Pennsylvania. He does not need Minnesota either, but he should target Wisconsin if he's going to target Michigan and Minnesota. He's not going to Minnesota. I mean, taking a look at the Minnesota numbers, Biden plus 9.3%. In 2016, this state might have been a lot closer. Clinton might have only won this state by, there you can see, 1.5%. But still, Donald Trump is not going to win Minnesota. That is just plain obvious. I don't know why he's trying to target this state. Michigan is not going to go to Trump either. I mean, Biden leads by 8%. Something must, horribly go wrong for Joe Biden for Trump to actually win these 2 states. Pennsylvania, I think, is still not going to go to Trump. Taking a look at Pennsylvania, as you can see, Biden plus 1.5%. Biden, again, is at 50%. So what's important about this 50% thing is that Hillary Clinton, she really didn't do too much towards thinner polling numbers. She did basically the exact same, as you can see in Pennsylvania. In 2016, she she actually did better, not underperformed. She overperformed her margin by 0.7%. Trump just overperformed a lot more. In the state of Michigan in 2016, we see Clinton did the exact same as her polling numbers. In Wisconsin, not the history of Wisconsin, but the polling average for 2016 in Wisconsin, basically the same thing. But if Joe Biden were to do the same thing, he's at 50% in all 3 of these states, as you can see. As long as he wins, what he's expected to do based on the polls, he'll win all 3 of these states. Clinton, she just never hit 50%, nor did Trump, just because those 2 candidates were very unpopular. This time around, a lot of people, they're not voting for one horrible candidate or another. Joe Biden, a lot of people do view him positively, and although a lot of people are definitely going to vote for him because they don't like Trump, a lot of people are going to vote for Joe Biden because they like Joe Biden. And Pennsylvania not looking any better for the Trump campaign. He might lead by by 3% in one poll, but still, they're not on his side. The numbers are just not there for Trump in Pennsylvania, and although polls don't vote, it is a reflection of how people are probably going to vote. I mean, if a candidate is leading by too much, there just really isn't a chance for the other candidate to win. I mean, if you want to talk about, polls and stuff, Donald Trump leads by basically 6%, I believe, in Alaska, state that he won by 15% last time around. So Joe Biden is right now doing better in the states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin than Trump was doing in the state of Alaska just a couple days ago. But Joe Biden's doing better in Wisconsin and Michigan than Trump is doing in Alaska. I believe Trump's numbers in Alaska have overtaken Biden's numbers in Pennsylvania. So Joe Biden is doing better in Wisconsin and Michigan than Donald Trump is doing in Alaska. Does anyone think that Joe Biden's going to win Alaska? No, because although Trump might not be doing so well, the state is still solidly red. And I'm not comparing these 2 states. I mean, these 2, Wisconsin and Michigan, are more swing states. But still, the numbers just don't, show that Trump really does have a chance in any of these Rust Belt states. Ohio, definitely. But personally, I would not spend too much money here if I was Trump. I mean, the state is pretty close, but I think that right now it is in the Trump column. Definitely it's within the margin of error. I mean, you've Rasmussen giving Biden a 1-point lead in the state, which is pretty concerning for the Trump campaign, but still, Ohio right now I think is not going to go to Joe Biden, And in these last couple of days, I just don't see it flipping back blue. I think Trump will carry the state of Ohio. So Minnesota numbers not looking any better. And one state that I think that Trump really is neglecting is the state of Florida. This is also another state. If he really wants to win this election, he's realistically not going to win Minnesota. He's not going to win Michigan either. He might win Pennsylvania, but what he also needs is these other states. North Carolina is closer than ever. North Carolina, Biden leads by around 3% there, I believe. Let me take a look at the state of North Carolina. As you can see, Biden plus 2%. So it has gotten a little bit closer, but numbers still, Trump still is not leading in any major polls except for Trafalgar Group and Rasmussen Reports, which are basically Republican pollsters. And the numbers here, just still, they're not there for Trump. I think that Trump definitely has a better chance of winning this state than the other states that we've talked about. But as of right now, I'm betting my money on Joe Biden. And another thing that we need to take a look at is if you want to take a look at Pennsylvania. Early voting started pretty early here in Pennsylvania, and it started at a point where Trump was down 7% in Pennsylvania. So Donald Trump might even, tie Joe Biden, if he does on election night, according to the polls. Or not tie, but just still a little bit better, I guess. Biden will still probably win the state just because he had so many votes at this point in time. A lot of these voters were voting for Joe Biden when he was having his largest amount of support ever in Pennsylvania. And I think that just because these states were so close in 2016, that is really going to put Biden over the top.